You have felt it before, a quiet sense that something is about to happen, a calm knowing that arrives without noise, a moment where you feel certain without proof, and when it unfolds, you do not feel shocked, you feel confirmed. That feeling is not excitement, it is recognition, almost like you already knew. Most people call this instinct, some call it coincidence, others say it is the subconscious mind predicting patterns. But what if that explanation is incomplete? What if intuition is not about guessing what comes next, but remembering what is already forming? Pause on that idea, because it changes how you see time, choice, and growth. We are taught that memory only looks backward. Past creates present, present creates future, straight line, safe structure. But consciousness does not experience time the way clocks do. Neuroscience already shows this. In classic experiments, the brain prepares a decision before you become aware of choosing. Your body moves toward action before your mind claims it decided. You are always catching up to something already in motion. That gap between action and awareness feels like intuition, but that is only the surface. Sometimes intuition is not fast, it is slow and precise. You meet someone and feel they will not stay in your life. You step into a chance and feel it will change everything. You walk away from something good because something inside says, "Not this." Later, you understand why. In the moment, it feels like remembering a future you have not lived. Why does that happen? Because consciousness may not be trapped in linear time. In physics, the future is not empty, it is a field of probabilities. Many outcomes exist at once until one becomes stable. When awareness stabilizes, one path becomes real. If probabilities already exist, then intuition may be awareness of a path that is gaining strength. Not fantasy, not wishful thinking, alignment. Your system senses which possibility is becoming coherent. That sensing feels like memory because coherence already started before you noticed it. This is why intuition feels calm. Anxiety is loud and urgent. Intuition is quiet and simple. It does not argue, it does not explain, it just is. Most people ignore it because they want evidence, but evidence appears after collapse. Intuition appears before. And if intuition is future memory, the real question becomes this: who is remembering? The brain does not wait for reality to happen. It anticipates. It predicts sensory input before it arrives. It prepares emotional reactions before events unfold. You are always forecasting, and forecasting is not random. Your nervous system scans tone, posture, rhythm, microsignals, and context. It builds probability models. When one model becomes stable enough, you feel it as intuition. But there are moments intuition contradicts past experience. You feel pulled towards something you never imagined. You feel warned about something that seems logical. That is not just pattern recognition, that is alignment with a new trajectory. The future exists as a spectrum of potentials. Your system may be detecting which potential is gaining coherence, and coherence feels like familiarity. Think about that feeling of having been here before. It may not be a glitch, it may be alignment with a path your system already stabilized internally. When your emotional state is regulated, intuitive perception sharpens. When heart and brain rhythms align, clarity increases. Intuition is not mystical, it is physiological coherence. When your system is stable, you detect subtle shifts in probability. When your system is chaotic, you misread noise as signal. This is why intuition strengthens when you slow down. This is why clarity comes when you regulate. You are not predicting the future, you are sensing which version of it is forming. And that leads to a deeper question. If the future exists as probability, then time is not what you think.
Physics has already challenged linear time. In quantum experiments, particles influence each other instantly across distance. In delayed choice experiments, present measurement seems to shape past behavior. Time is not a straight arrow. Past, present, and future interact. If probabilities exist now and consciousness interacts with them, then the future is not ahead of you, it is interacting with you. Imagine many radio stations broadcasting at once. The music exists before you tune in. You do not create the song, you align with it. Now imagine futures as frequencies. When your identity stabilizes, you tune in to a trajectory. Your system detects it before it becomes visible. That detection feels like recognition. This does not mean everything is fixed. Probability is not destiny. Many paths exist. Coherence determines which one strengthens. When your internal state stabilizes, one path gains structure. As it gains structure, you sense it. That sensing is intuition. This is why intuition often becomes strong before big life shifts. Before you move, before you meet someone significant, before you change direction, there is a quiet internal shift. You feel drawn or warned. That is coherence forming. Evidence comes later. Most people wait for proof, but proof is the final stage. Intuition is the early stage. The future organizes internally before it reorganizes externally. Why do some signals feel distorted? Because fear can imitate intuition. Fear is loud. Intuition is quiet. Fear demands action. Intuition feels steady. Fear explains and argues. Intuition does not. When your nervous system is dysregulated, you predict danger. Trauma replays old patterns. Anxiety creates false alarms. When your system is regulated, perception widens. Coherence increases. Signal becomes clear. Meditation and breathwork are not spiritual trends. They reduce noise. They synchronize neural activity. They increase coherence. In coherent states, intuition becomes accurate. If you want stronger intuition, do not think harder. Regulate deeper. Slow down. Observe without urgency. Ask what feels steady, not exciting, not dramatic, steady. Right before a major shift, intuition often becomes quieter and clearer. You feel recognition. The world looks the same, but internally something stabilizes. Identity shifts before reality shifts. When identity shifts, old patterns lose energy. Attachments weaken. A new trajectory gains strength. Your system senses it. You feel less reactive, less desperate, more certain. That certainty is coherence. If you ignore that signal, you can destabilize the forming path. Alignment requires participation. You do not force the future. You stabilize the state that matches it. When desire and emotional baseline match, coherence strengthens. Mixed signals weaken probability. Stability strengthens it. This is why some decisions feel obvious, not easy, obvious, because the probability has already strengthened. Collapse becomes inevitable when coherence remains stable. So who is sending the signal?
Intuition does not come from outside you. It is not random energy. It is the signal of a stabilizing identity in the field of possibilities. Your identity selects probabilities. When identity shifts, probabilities reorganize. Your personality creates your personal reality. When personality changes, the future becomes less predictable. Intuition signals that a new identity is forming. It is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. You do not sharpen intuition by chasing signs. You sharpen it by stabilizing your internal state. When you become coherent, the field responds. Intuition is feedback from that coherence. If you feel less reactive now, less attached to old triggers, more calm in situations that once controlled you, that is identity evolution. And identity evolution reorganizes probability. Old timelines lose energy. New timelines gain structure. You sense it. That is intuition.
So stop trying to manifest outcomes, stabilize identity, become the version of you that naturally aligns with what you want. When coherence stabilizes, reality reorganizes. You are not waiting for the future. The future is waiting for your coherence. When you trust the steady signal within, urgency fades, alignment replaces effort. The next time you feel that quiet knowing, do not dismiss it. That is recognition of a trajectory already forming around you. Stay coherent long enough, and reality will rearrange in ways that feel familiar, because in a real sense, you have already sensed it.
Now bring this back to your daily life. Intuition is not something rare. It is not reserved for monks, scientists, or mystics. It is active in you every day. You feel it when you choose a route home without thinking. You feel it when you decide to call someone and they were about to call you. You feel it when you suddenly change a plan and later realize why. These are small examples, but they come from the same mechanism. Your system is sensing alignment before your mind explains it. Most people treat intuition like a side feature, something interesting but unreliable. But intuition is actually your primary navigation system. Logic is slow. Logic needs data. Logic needs proof. Intuition integrates thousands of signals instantly. It is fast because it is holistic. It does not think in steps. It recognizes patterns in one sweep. When you start to trust intuition, something shifts. You stop forcing. You stop pushing against resistance. You move with timing instead of against it. You notice that opportunities appear when you are ready, not when you beg for them. You realize that growth is not about pressure. It is about coherence. Personal growth is not about adding more techniques. It is about stabilizing your internal state. When your inner world becomes consistent, your outer world mirrors that consistency. Intuition becomes clearer because your identity becomes clearer. Confusion weakens signal. Clarity strengthens it. This is why manifestation is not about repeating words. It is about embodying frequency. When your actions, emotions, and beliefs match the version of you that already lives the outcome, intuition guides you naturally. You do not chase signs, you follow alignment. Think about the moments when things worked out easily. You were not desperate, you were not forcing, you were calm, you were present, you were aligned. That alignment allowed you to notice subtle cues. It allowed you to say yes at the right moment and no at the right moment. Motivation is not just hype. Motivation is remembering who you are becoming. When you remember the future version of you, your choices change. You start acting in ways that match that identity. That is future memory in action. You do not need to see the whole path. You only need to feel the next step. Intuition rarely gives a full map. It gives direction. It gives timing. It gives subtle nudges. Your job is not to question every nudge. Your job is to stay regulated enough to hear it. So slow down. Listen inward. Notice what feels steady. Notice what feels aligned. Let go of what feels forced. Repeat this daily. Over time, intuition becomes louder, not in volume, but in clarity. You are not lost, you are calibrating. You are not behind, you are aligning. The future version of you is already coherent, and every intuitive signal is a reminder of that version calling you forward.